Hi, I'm Alan Bradstock. I spent 8 years active duty with the U.S. Army from 86 to 94 and served in Desert Storm over in Germany and Fort Lewis, Washington.
My name's Keith Horne. I was in the United States Navy from 1976 to 1984. Did 2 tours on aircraft carriers and ended up here.
Ken Sullenberger. I enlisted in the Air Force right after school, and I spent my entire time at Kinsler Air Force Base up next to the Canadian border, and it was interesting because there was times it was very exciting, but I did have a lot of buddies that went to Vietnam, and of course a lot of them didn't come back, but it was hard to see them go, and I didn't get to go. I wanted to, but just the way it is.
I'm John Schoener, and I'm a retired Lieutenant Colonel, United States Army Reserve for 29 years. I have 2 tours in Operation Iraqi Freedom, another tour in Kuwait, and 2 stateside tours with the Operation Enduring Freedom.
And I'm Beth Magie. I served 4 years in the United States Air Force. I was a Cold War veteran from 1980 to 1984. When I first enlisted was September 79, and shortly thereafter was the Iran crisis. One of the hostages was Jeremy L. He was from Mount Pleasant too. So my enlistment became personal. My oath became personal, and it still stands.
I think one of the things that is bothering me about this Trump 2.0 administration is the fact that he is so focused on loyalty to him, not only in the military but throughout the U.S. government, and so it makes the 2 times I gave the oath to uphold and defend the Constitution mean more now than it ever did when I actually did it, because now that it seems like we're losing some of the rights and some of the things about the Constitution and the separation of power. That's what's scaring me, and that's why I feel like I need to get more engaged now. When I was trained as an Army officer, it was very much focused on character and competence, and I'm not seeing that in the current administration, and so that's very distressing.
As far as the oath goes, I mean, we not only take the oath to the Constitution, but that Constitution represents everybody in the United States. We, the people, everybody is included in that. And that's why it means so much to me, because it's not being upheld for everybody. It's the select few, the conservative, the rich, and the powerful. And it's not the everyday regular people who are being denied due process and freedom of speech. Their rights are being trampled on. And I don't agree with that at all. So it means more to me now. It meant more when I was younger because of the Iran crisis and the personal connection. But it means even more now because I've made so many friends, not only in the military, but every race, creed, color, religion, and even when I've been out. And they're not being represented, and that hurts, and that's why I want to stand up for everybody.
But what about those who served with us? There are those who served with us, at least roughly half, voted for Trump 2.0, give or take. Now, what really disturbs me, and here you're part of your oath after the support and defend the Constitution against all of any enemies, foreign and domestic, is followed by another part. And that is bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
Right.
And it's also followed by another part that I will take no purpose of without reservation or purpose of evasion. Those are 2 important parts of the oath that everybody seems, or at least a great number of people have seemed to have forgotten. And that includes members of Congress right now. And, and a lot of people, I think, are misunderstanding the Constitution, its parts, whose roles and responsibilities are what they're for. And you have those parts of the oath, of which I took twice, of which I have a grandfather and many great uncles who served in World War II, one of whom jumped in Sicily. They took an oath too. Now the enlisted oath is different than the officer oath to some degree, but it's still to the Constitution. And you still bear that true faith and allegiance to the same. And it seems that a lot of our colleagues, and we don't fault them necessarily, but have walked away from that and a basic fundamental understanding of the separation of powers, of the civil military divide, and in how that works. And it seems it's disturbing, and I consider it a betrayal. I really do. That's probably the biggest thing. I feel betrayed, and a lot of people just simply don't understand. But nevertheless, I'm going to keep speaking. I'm going to keep trying to educate people. I'm going to keep focusing on our humanity, our common shared American ideals.
My dad had served in World War II, lost his leg. And excuse me, I went in on mine. I went in and joined it and graduated. I rejoined in 75 and went in 70 as I graduated. The oath means more to me than anything.
I think it was a disgrace to have all the generals and majors, whatever, and have a meeting and kind of rip into them. And if they're overweight, if they have a beard, if they do this, if they do that. He was just trying to get them to pledge his loyalty to him. Um, I they had to feel like they was at the bottom of the pole somewhere when this guy's speaking, and I could not understand why the country spent the money. Bring them guys in. They know what their job is. Believe me, they've been in a service for as long as what they have, they know what they're supposed to do, and they will uphold the Constitution. But it's sad.
January 6th was a disgrace. And to know that there were veterans in that crowd, domestic terrorists, and to lift up somebody who defied their oath, that was killed that day, the only person that was actually killed not following directions of a law and not following their oath. That whole day was disgusting to me. It made me sick to my stomach. I cried. I cried for my nation. And I cried for the betrayal.
I still think I feel sorry for them guys was on duty. I don't believe they ever had the training. There would have been. I'll be honest with you. I would not have hesitated to do my job because that was my job.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people got away with crap, and now they're free. So.
That was a disgrace.
People asked me what I thought about it. It's like he said, if I'd have been there,
We could have done our duty.
That was our duty at that time. Yeah. But now I guess they're not trained the same, but I still got to believe that they would support my whole.
that's what's so disgusting there. Now that they're supporting somebody that's a 5-time draft dodger that when he came into office just kept talking about the military like we're stupid and we're dumb and we weren't worthy for what we did.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Those are times when you question whether it was worth it sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And people will tell us it was worth it. We have to remind each other that what we did was worth it. Even if other people seem to be throwing that aside, I think a lot of people, it's hard. It creates a level of anxiety. Just to January 6th talked about. There were people there who were my rank and higher that were involved in that incident, in that act against our government. And I can't help but think that one of the ways we got here is that we have a broken social contract. Effectively, we are living in, and I think I pointed this out before to other friends. We are living in two different realities. We are not living in a shared perception of reality right now.
I'm a natural optimist, and I do believe that there is a large part of the culture of the military that truly believe what we believe and continues to do that despite what's coming down from the top. And I believe it's going to hold for a while. I'm not saying it's going to hold indefinitely, but I think that that's strong, and I think it's a good thing, and I think that's going to endure for a while forward. But I'm still worried about the pressure from above and where the rubber meets the road in the hierarchy and how it's going to really play out, especially if they are continuing to go into the streets of the U.S. cities. And it just seems to me that there's inevitably going to be some violent action towards the military that could be incendiary in many different ways. But I believe the culture is strong, but it's also a dangerous time.
With the massive amounts of people that he's summoning in, and like the crap that he did, and they pulled off in Chicago in the middle of the night, pulling people from their homes, and and they're trying to push all the buttons to get us to react. But I think all of us here know enough that we're going to use our First Amendment right. We're going to hold the line. I mean, no matter what they try to do, we're still going to follow the Constitution, and that's just going to, like we say here, it's going to irritate them even more because we're doing things by the law and what we're supposed to do. So they're going to try. They're just going to try and push and push. And I think he's wanting to create something so he can declare martial law and cancel the election. That is, I believe, that is his goal. That's his goal. Yeah.
On talking to your neighbors and knowing your neighbors, because as I've tried to tell people, I'm looking out for my neighbors. I don't care who my neighbors are, and I don't care who they voted for. We're part of a city and part of a community, and I think we need to get that shared sense of community back. That we really do. We have to get that shared sense of community back, and I don't know. That's a difficult order right now. That is a very, very difficult order.
Peacefully protesting, getting the word out, having the hard conversations with some of these people, like some of the veterans that roll up and say, you ridiculous. No, I'm upholding my oath. What happened to yours? Maybe go home and read the Constitution in full and see what it says. See if that really holds water to your oath. Is that really what you believe? Because I don't think they've read it. I don't think they know.
One of the things that I think we should expect those who are criticizing us for being critical of the administration, is something that we were all taught, and especially recently in the military. Resilience is being resilient, and I think expect us to be resilient as a veteran community, as a local community, and to push back against the lies and the push back against the just complete disregard for the Constitution and the complete disregard for human rights. Again, I come back to my great uncles and my grandfather, who went World War II into the European theater and fought fascists. So it is important to exercise our First Amendment rights. That is a right to, speak out, to have freedom of press, freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, and let people know what you're thinking. The difficulty is you usually have to have people that are willing to listen to you to understand those grievances. And I fear that a lot of the grievances are being simply ignored. That doesn't mean we stop. We continue to speak out. we continue to write, we continue to hold up signs, we continue to educate and let people know this is happening. It's not right. It's not normal. That's why we're here. That's why they're here every week. And not all of us can do that every week. And I will participate again, but it's really important to get involved. And I was so happy that so many veterans were also involved. And I would encourage people to continue.
Well, I've been at several protests over the past few months, and every time I go, it just feels good to be around other people that share similar values and to be part of just letting people know that I'm concerned and believe that a lot of things that are happening are wrong. And I believe it's the first step and a needed continued step in order to keep pushing that. And I hope it'll grow. And I want to be part of trying to continue to make it grow and to then translate it into conversations so that we can start looking for that common ground that I truly believe we have with our friends. Most of my friends are conservative based on my careers that I've had, and I haven't lost a friend yet. And I want to continue that. And I think it's just by having conversations. And sometimes you can't go a certain place, but other times you can. And so looking for that opportunity to find common ground is what I'm focusing on.
Yeah, we found out about the protest going on. We talked about it, and then we decided that we don't like what's going on. And we've been here almost every one of them. Like I say, I think we miss a few here and there because of grandkids and stuff. But at least one of us tries to come. And I'm here because I'm tired of looking and listening to all this bullshit that's going on right now.
I kind of enjoyed coming to the protest. I've only missed a few, but I think it's a way that we can express some of our feelings without going over the law. Yeah. And there's some that really hate the idea that we're here, and there's others that when they go by and wave and they give you the thumbs up, and I think they appreciate what we're doing. In fact, I've even had a couple of people tell me that. However, there ought to be more. I think there ought to be more that actually participates. We should fill that corner, and maybe this part too. This is for their freedom. This is for their constitution. You name it. It's like what is going on is not right. And if we don't do something, and this is one small thing I think that we can do. That I know many people that they don't care. They just don't care what goes on. As long as they're getting $1 in their wallet, they don't care what happens to the rest of the country, and that is not right. There's been many lives given for our freedom, and I don't think they care about it. So this is just one small part that I think I can do, and help out. We do definitely got to change some of the things that's going on in Washington. So I hope what we do does help.
The worst part of the protest is when you have people that say how they support veterans and then they go by and give us the finger and give us a thumbs down and use profane language and roll call or whatever in a veteran's face, knowing full well we're veterans. And it's just the hypocrisy of it all. But the best part of the protest are all the people that go by and wave and honk, and the little kids that are smiling and waving out the back windows. And it's for them. It's for them to know that they're not alone. They might be afraid to come out because of, their neighbors or their jobs or their business, but at least they know that somebody's out here spreading the word and trying to fight for them.
Sense of growing community is a positive. So if you're thinking about it but haven't, I'd say join. You're going to feel good and you're going to want to keep coming back.